Every time you tap defuse, you're not playing Counter-Strike. You're playing a different game. A game with actual mathematical rules. And here's the thing. Most people are losing that game without even knowing it exists. Today I'm going to show you the exact math behind when to stick to defuse, when to fake, and why your instincts are probably wrong. Alright, so let's set up the scene. Bombs planted in a 1v1 situation. You're the CT, and you have a general idea of where the T's hiding. So you tap defuse. The sound confirms your location to the T. Now he has a decision to make. Does he peek you? Or does he call your bluff? While that's happening, you're deciding, do I commit to the defuse, or do I fake and bait out his peek? There are 4 possible outcomes from this scenario. You stick to the defuse, and they peek. You're a sitting duck, and the T wins. B. You stick, and they hold. You finish the defuse, and the CT side wins. You fake, and they peek. You're ready for the fight, and the CT side wins. Or D. You fake, and they wait. You've wasted time, and the T wins. And we can see a pattern form from this grid. If both commit, or both hold, the T wins. If there's a mismatch, the CT wins. This is called game theory in economics. This specifically is a matching pennies game. And that's because there's no right answer here. Because if there was, your opponent would just counter it. Think about it. If you always defuse, a smart player on the T side would peek every single time and get the kill and win. But on the other hand, if you always fake, they'll always just wait you out. So what's the solution? You have to randomize, but not randomly, mathematically. In the simplest version of the game, where faking and peeking is a guaranteed win for the CT side, both players should go 50-50, flip a coin, decide what you want to do. But we all know that's not how CS works. In reality, when you fake and they peek, you don't automatically win. You have to hit the shot. Maybe you win that duel 50% of the time. Maybe 70% if you're smurfing. Maybe 30% if you're on an eco. So let's call the probability that you win the duel W. Now the math changes. Something interesting happens. If your win rate is about 50%, you should only stick to the defuse about 1/3 of the time, not 50%. On the flip side, the T should be peeking you 2/3 of the time. So at equilibrium, the T is going to win 70% of these situations. Not 50, 70. The moment faking becomes a duel rather than a free kill, the entire balance shifts towards the T. But hold on, we're missing a variable. Time. What if you fake, but you still have time to stick it anyway? Now your fake is not a guaranteed loss, it's just risky. So let's call this new variable F, which will be the probability of you winning after faking. Now this depends on a couple of factors. Right? How much time is left on the bomb? Do you even have time to fake? And it also can depend on whether you have a kit or not, which can give you up to 5 seconds of breathing room. With a kit and plenty of time, this probability could be 0.4 or 0.5. Without a kit and the bomb basically about to explode, this goes down to 0. Now when we plug both variables in, we get this formula for how much percentage of the time you should stick the bomb. So it's your probability of winning the duel minus your probability of winning after faking over 1 plus that figure. So the more time you have, the more you could fake, right? That's intuitive. But the better your 1v1 win rate is, the more you can fake as well. Both variables are pushing you towards the same thing. Take the duel. Now let's give you some real scenarios. Let's say you have no kit, you're real tight on time, and you have decent aim. So your probability of winning in a 1v1 is going to be 50%. But you can't really fake because there's no time left, and you have no kit. So your probability of winning after a fake is 0. So if we plug it into our formula, we get 0.5 minus 0 over 1 plus 0.5 minus 0, which is 0.5 over 1.5, which is 33%. So you should stick the bomb 33% of the time in that case. But you're still only going to win about 1/3 of these situations. The T is heavily favored. Now let's do scenario 2. Let's say you have a kit, you have a decent amount of time, and you have decent aim. So the probability that you win the 1v1 is around 70%. And even if you fake, you have a 40% chance of winning. So F is 0.4. Now if we plug it into the formula, you should only stick about 1 in 6 times, or around 17%. And now your win rate's at around 50-50. Scenario 3, you're a smurf. If you're winning 70 to 80% of your duels, and you have time to spare, this figure goes to 0, and this figure goes to 0, so you basically tend towards 0 over 1, which means you should never stick in this situation. Keep faking until they give you the fight. Now the problem that players get wrong. They think about what they should do. But the mat says to think about your opponent and what they think you're doing. If you stick the bomb 3 rounds in a row, you better fake that 4th time. If you fake a lot, stick it. Punish them with conditioning. The goal isn't to pick the right option, because there's no guarantees here. The goal, however, is to be unpredictable, and in a way that maximizes your odds. And the T is favored in most of these scenarios. The best chance you have as a CT is a 50-50. So don't feel too bad if you lose on the CT side. You're fighting an uphill battle. But if you're on T side, be aggressive. The math's on your side. Peek more than you think you should. So next time you're in that 1v1 clutch, and you're fucking shaking because you're a nervous bitch, remember the math, internalize it, and use it to your advantage. Now, you're not guessing anymore. You're playing the game, and the motherfucker across from you doesn't even know he's playing one. If you want me to break down some more CS2 mechanics with actual math, leave a comment on what I should do. Follow me on Twitter. You know the deal. Later.